What is up, guys? Yes, today, mixing my guitars 2022 version. Let's fucking learn something. So guys, a lot of people ask over the years, how do I mix my guitars when I'm doing a cover? How do I do this? How do I do that? And this has gone way back to fucking when I first started. Halfway through and up until now, someone asked it. So I thought I would do a 2022 version, a 2022 version of this. You don't know why I'm laughing. And that's what we're doing. And it's actually quite simple. So get ready to be fucking mind blown. So for those of you that know, you know that I'm very simple when it comes to recording. I have a Shure SM57 microphone that goes from my cabinet into my Focusrite Scarlett Solo 2nd Gen interface into GarageBand. Simple, job done. No bells and whistles. Let's not complicate things. So that's really all I do to set up to record. So I pull up my screen here, kapushk, and you can see I've got a cover here. Don't ask why the waveforms are so small. That's really weird. I don't know why they've gone really small. However, this was my cover of Throwing It All Away by Zakk Wylde. So this top track here, that's the actual track, or if I can get a backing track, that's where the backing track will go, okay? So I'll load that into GarageBand, just drag and drop, nice and simple. And then all these other ones you see, these here, these are my guitar tracks. Like I said, I don't know why these waveforms have like disappeared. But I'll record my guitar. So I'll record along to it. No EQ, just mic into the interface, plug in, play. That's it, done. Once I've got all the guitar parts recorded, then it comes to the mixing stage and the stage where you have to kind of blend it in. So when you're doing a cover, oh, sorry, microphone. When you're doing a cover, you don't want the song to be too loud because then we won't hear your guitar. You don't want to have your guitars too loud because then you won't hear the song. It's about finding a balance. If you find a backing track, it's a lot easier. But if you're using the original track, obviously you have the guitars from that track. What am I, fucking Italian? From that track in audible. So it's a case of mixing and making it work to where your guitars stand out, but you can't really hear the guitars from the track. Now, I seem to have mastered this over the years on YouTube. Every cover I've done, you hear my guitars. If I'm using the original track, you'll hear my guitars. You'll hear the drums and the vocals enough from the track so it blends. And then it's just a case of mixing it in, okay? And people ask me, I had a conversation with a guy in the comments, and he was like, how do you mix it? How do you mix it? What do you do? What do you do? And it's really difficult to say because it's so simple. And I don't think people believe that it's so simple. So what I'm going to do is, I've got GarageBand here, all right? This is GarageBand. So I'm going to open up the EQ section. And as you'll see, the EQ section here, you've got all these pretty colours. You've got red, orange, yellow, green, a sort of turquoise, a blue, and a purple. All right? Now, since I started, I obviously had no fucking idea what any of this meant. Be honest, I still hardly do now. But that's not important. But this is what I do. As you can see, you got all these little ups and downs and bumps. Here's how I've looked at it. And I always stick to it, and this is always how it's done. And I mean, let's be honest. You've heard my covers. They sound good. So obviously what I'm doing is fucking working. So take note. So you got your ups and downs. And literally all I do is I'll record all my guitar parts. And then if, for example, I've got my rhythm parts and then there's some lead parts, I'll start with all the rhythm sections. And I'll open up the EQ, I'll click on the track, I'll open up the EQ, and so this is how I look at it, from left to right. Left is your lows, middle is going to be your mids, and the far right is going to be your highs, okay? And that's literally how I look at it. So if I listen to my guitars, I listen to them on their own, then I'll listen to them with the track. First I'll adjust the volumes, but that kind of happens along the way as well. You're always adjusting levels. But for EQ purposes, if I'm listening to it back and I think to myself, oh, I feel like it needs a little bit more high end, I just go right over here to the right, to the blue and the purple, and I'll move these up. If I want less low end, I just move them down. If I want more low end, The reds and this orange bit right here. I'll move them up. If I want less, I'll just bring it down. If I want more mids, I'll bring them up. I want less mids, I'll bring them down. And that's literally all I do, is I just click, I move up and down, and I move them around until something clicks in my head and it sounds good. And that's all I do. It's that goddamn simple. A few other things that I will touch on when I'm doing a cover is I'll always have a master track, right? It just seems to always work. When I've EQ'd all the tracks and everything, I'll open up the master track and I'll go over here and I'll go mastering, and you've got a final mix options. You've got dance music, fuck no. You got ballad, dance, hip hop, pop and rock. Every single cover you will hear, I've gone to the master track and I've clicked final mix rock. And all that does is it just kind of like smooths things out. It rounds things off and just tightens things up and finishes off the whole process to what I've been doing with EQing the guitar tracks. And my friends, other than just adjusting volume levels, just to really make it sit, it is that simple. That's all I do. I do absolutely fuck all else when it comes to mixing my guitars. So like, to wrap up, I'll put the track into GarageBand. I'll load up the guitar tracks I'm going to use. So if I'm using 4, 3, 6, 12, 15, 24, 36, 48, all that shit, I'll record all the guitar parts, and then I'll click on the tracks. I'll click on the EQ. I'll bring the EQ up, and I will just move shit up and down depending on what I want. My amp is always set to how it's always set. Sometimes if it's a certain sound, I may adjust it on the amp slightly, just slightly. Because one thing is, when you record, it's very hard to take it away, but it's easy to add it on. Does that make sense? But my amp is always pretty much set to how it always is, and I just work around it. But like I said, it's easier to add on than it is to take away, so be mindful of that. But for all of you that have been asking, how do I mix my covers or mix my guitars? That is it. That is it, my friends. How simple is that? It's just with a microphone, an interface, GarageBand, and moving pretty coloured things up and down. It's that simple. And I mean, I think we can all agree the final product in what I do turns out pretty damn good, wouldn't you say? Let's comment below. You can go check out this cover that I've got up on here. I'll link it at the end of the video, which sounded really cool. Some tracks are more harder to do than others, to get it kind of mixed and right. For example, like anything off of Death Magnetic, like everything's so loud, the guitars are so loud, so it's really hard to kind of get that balance. But I've always found when I've got the track and I drag it into GarageBand, it lowers the quality, so the guitars always seem to be quieter, which obviously works in my favour. I don't know if that happens to anyone else. It happens with me. But guys, that's literally it. That's how I mix my guitars in 2022. There's really nothing to it. And that's it, honestly. Load the track in, record your guitars, move the EQ up and down, and just fucking find what sounds right, find what sounds good. And there you go, my friends. Sometimes I'll add a little reverb if I'm doing a little reverb, but very, very unlikely. So, has everybody learnt something today? And don't forget, if you're a badass motherfucker, then you should subscribe to this YouTube channel. And if you are a camera person in the background taking really loud photos, hit the subscribe button. You're fired. And guys, this is what Guys, you should also check out my channel memberships trailer if you're not a channel member, and see some of the cool content you will get to see of me spending way too much time in the toilet drinking beer, because that's just what we do. Give me some beers, a camera, and a hotel bathroom, and shit's going to get fucking weird. So check out that video, become a channel member, get a cool little badge next to your name. A lot of you are on the flaming 666 badge now. If you're a channel member, flood the comments with your emojis below, show everyone what's up. And guys, subscribe if you're new. Remember, only if you're a badass motherfucker. If you're not, then don't worry about it. This channel is way too X-rated for you. Podcast is coming out this Wednesday. It'll be this Wednesday. It's a fucking good one. It's a funny one. After 2 weeks off, we're back and kicking, and it's good. So, guys, with that said, rock out. Be awesome. Give this a try because it's so fucking simple, and this is literally all I do. For like 5 years, this is what I've done. And I'll see you on Wednesday in the podcast. Okay, see ya! Pick throw. I'll throw an Ernie ball cloth. There you go. Job's a fish.